Welcome. It is your daily dose of Donna. It is Thursday, April 17th. How is everyone doing today? It is a cold, cloudy, gloomy day here in Los Angeles as we're nearing the end of our week. We're heading over to Easter weekend. Happy Easter to all of those who celebrate. Are we bunny hopping around this weekend? I am in my cozies. I felt like being cozy today because we've got to get cozy together. We have a lot to talk about today. I hope you guys are ready. I hope you're ready because I started my deep dive last night. And if you missed it, I did come on live last night, a late night deep dive with Daily Dose of Donna. It was dinner time with Donna. It could have been dessert. It could have been your daily dose of dessert with Donna, where we really started. We cracked open the case. We cracked open the Blake Lively Time Magazine Most Influential Titan Award that she got. And once the crack was open, at that point, it just split open. And this is the problem. This is the problem with what happens, why we can't have nice things. I'm sorry, Blake. I'm sorry. But when things like this happen, you start to open, doors. You start to peel back the curtains. You start to peel back the onion as they do at Outback Steakhouse. I love those blooming onions. And you start to do some deep dive research. And then you start to see things that aren't so good. Now, a lot of you guys have really spent your time deep diving what they call and why they call her Plantation Khaleesi. And I haven't, because you know what? For me, I stick to the legal documents. I stick to the court documents. I stick to the back and forth of what Brian Friedman's doing, Justin Baldoni, the amended complaint. But last night I was in. I started to deep dive. I started to research all these articles, my ADHD hyperfixation. I was in. And I started to see some TikToks. And then I started to say, what is up with Blake Lively and her obsession with what is called poverty core? Huh? Now, as you can see, I am a fashionable sister here, okay? I love my fashion. Just kidding. I am in Target's best. As you can see, I'm in my athletic gear. But whoa, my friends. We've got a little story to tell today. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're definitely going to talk about a lot of reality news, because I want to talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I want to talk about Summer House, and I want to talk about The Valley, plus a Love Island spinoff. Plus, I guess Haley Joel Osment, I See Dead People, was arrested at the same Mammoth resort I was just at. What I would have done to see that. So many stories and more on today's Daily Dose of Deep Dives. Donna. Is everyone laughing still with the intro music, with Zach Peters dancing? Oh my God. I can't stop laughing over that. Even Lance, I made Lance watch that episode of Zach Peter going, "Whoa, Dick, can you imagine? Daily dose of Donna." I mean, it was quite possibly. And for those of you that can't stand when I have fun, because I think every time I enjoy myself on this show, I get people unsubscribing. I don't get it. By the way, this is a good moment to remind you to subscribe. Every day, I do get DMs from people saying, "Why am I unsubscribed? Why am I unsubscribed?" Oh, we do have to talk about Salt Lake City. Yes, there is some drama happening. I have been hearing some stuff going on. We will talk about that as well. But this is happening every day. People are getting unsubscribed right now. I want to check right now. Check. I'm waiting. While you're checking, can you please hit the like? I hate asking, but they say those YouTube people, those YouTube what are they called? The experts on YouTube, they say you got to tell people, you got to remind them. Please hit the like. Please subscribe. Please hit the like. Please subscribe. Okay, so don't worry. Make sure that you do that. Yes, I did have to make Lance watch just a little clip of when Zach did dance. And just for shits and giggles, as they say, here's a little moment for anyone that remembered or wasn't here for that lovely Friday episode where I felt like we were drunk, but we weren't. I swear we weren't drunk. But here's Zach. Here's the thing. Bethany can make anything entertaining.
That's why she was good TV.
I know. And
imagine it. Daily dose of Donna. Sorry,
that is not my song. What are you doing?
That's how it goes. Can you imagine it? Do you remember it? Is that not? What are the lyrics? How does it go?
I will never go to a dance club with you. What is happening? Wait, is this how you dance at the gay bars?
I don't dance at the gay bars.
Oh my God. I laughed my ass off. Zach cracks me up. Oh, he's so funny. Okay, we got to get into today's show. So much to talk about, really. If I don't start talking about it. He's so funny. Oh my God, you guys are okay. You guys get it. Those of you get it. Now, before we talk about it, let's throw it out to one of our sponsors, For Hers. Thank you guys so much, by the way, for being here. And my sponsors are really, really important to me. They do support the show. And For Hers is a great, great company. And they are now providing incredible hair serums. So check it out. Ladies, we all dream of thicker, fuller hair, right? But that's all it is, a dream. Until now. With Hers Hair, you can get thicker, fuller hair in just 3 to 6 months. Let's be honest, nothing boosts confidence quite like great hair. But if you're seeing more strands in the shower, your confidence might not be at its highest. And that's why you need Hers Hair. Thinning hair is something no one wants to deal with. But actually doing something about it can be stressful. With so many products out there, it can be confusing on what actually works. Enter Hers Hair. Hers Hair treatments are made with doctor-trusted prescription ingredients that many other hair products out there don't have. They come in a variety of options, including oral and topical solutions, so you can find the one that works for you. They even have options with added hair vitamins and supplements for extra support. Getting started is simple with a quick online hair quiz. Just answer some questions and you will be connected with a provider to discuss your personalized treatment plan. Through Hers, everything is 100% online. So no pharmacy trips, doctor's office visits, or insurance required. Plus, treatments start at just $35 a month. The best part, you can get thicker, fuller, healthier hair and start seeing regrowth in as little as 3 to 6 months. So start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/dailydose. That's FORHERS.com/dailydose for your personalized hair loss treatment options. Forhers.com/dailydose. Individual results may vary. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information. I love reading your guys' comments while I'm doing that. Tiffany says, I've been using Hers for 6 months. It works great, except now I have to get my grays dyed more often because my hair is growing faster. I mean, they say it's a good problem, right? It's a good problem to have. All right, let's get into the stories. So let's talk about Blakey, okay? Blakey, we've got a problem. So they say that everything Blake touches turns to shit. Who's they? I don't know. Me, I guess. I did get a comment yesterday saying, you guys are making me, I have to turn off my heater. It got warm. You guys are making me feel like I have to stand up for Blake, from one random commenter that wasn't even subscribed to my show. And I'm thinking, why? What we're talking about here are all documented facts. She did get married on a plantation. Here's what I'm going to explain, okay? Here are the facts. Blake Lively, and if you want a more detailed deep dive on her being awarded the top most influential, one of the 100 most influential people in the planet, according to Time Magazine. You can watch yesterday's show. It was posted last night on April 16th. But apparently, you know, she deserves this spot. She was given the blurb basically written by this woman, Sherilyn Ifill, who works for the NAACP. She also works for Harvard, or she is part of Harvard University. I'm not exactly sure. And the truth is that it felt very, very, it just felt fishy. And why? The timing was off. It's not necessarily the fact that she didn't do, you know, everything felt funky. It very clearly said the reason that she was given this honor is because in 2019, let me check the calendar. 6 years ago, she offered $2 million. She donated with her husband $2 million to the NAACP. Okay. That is a massive amount of money. Sure. Great. Awesome. It's nothing for Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. It's literally like $100 probably for me is $2 million for both Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds in 2019. Truly, I don't think it's anything for their amount of money that they own and you know, their wealth together. $2 million is a drop in the bucket for them. Then in 2020, Sukmani, I hope I'm saying that right, said, wasn't it 200,000? In 2020, in August of 2020, just after George Floyd and that big uprising of Black Lives Matter, the whole movement where the entire world was all eyes on all public figures, they donated another $200,000 to the NAACP, Legal Protection Fund. I believe that's what it called, legal LCP or LPF, something along those lines. So then they additionally offered more money. So they were throwing a lot of money towards the NAACP. And the question was, why? Well, in 2018, Ryan Reynolds had tweeted something in support of the Black Panther, which was a movie where it was a very, very strong Black cast of a Marvel movie, a superhero movie. And he honored it. He said, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And one tweet in response said, well, isn't this hypocritical, Ryan? You got married on a freaking plantation. I'm making that up. Okay. It said something along the lines of, you're being a hypocrite because you got married on a plantation. And the world saw for the first time, I don't know how it was hidden until 2018, but that was the moment where people said, excuse me, what? And sure enough, I spoke in detail about this last night. Yes, Boone Plantation, where there's a street called Slave Street. Okay. This is a big deal only because if you are alive, you should know that there's probably certain places that are appropriate and then not appropriate to have a celebration. Okay. Places to have celebrations. Church, temple, a park, a winery, a backyard, hotels, many fun places to not celebrate. Plantations, Slave Street, concentration camps, jails, anywhere that they maybe would torture people. Yeah. Should I go on? I mean, this feels like a little bit of an obvious to me, and especially if you're a public person. So I just don't understand who in Ryan and Blake's camp said, like, this is a great idea. No one's going to figure this one out. No one's going to say, hey, this may be a problem down the line. But then again, have you met Ryan and Blake's team? I just don't think that they have smart people around them. I truly don't believe that Blake and Ryan have smart people around them. I just think that they have, honestly, I just don't think that they have they have yes people around them, right? They have yes people around them. And it continues. So that was the number one thing. And then they decided, let's throw a shit ton of money on top of it so that they will shut up. Because if we put money on our mistakes, that's going to actually, hopefully, make people think that we actually care about the problem. And here's the thing. I don't believe that donating completely is a bad idea. I think that when you make a mistake in life, and I do believe that a lot of people make mistakes, right? A lot of people make mistakes, whether it's you say the wrong thing, you make a racist comment, I'm trying to think of like you do the wrong thing. There's a lot of situations like this, right? Where people do the wrong thing in where they feel like maybe they were uneducated. And here's an example. She does say in this blurb, the Sherilyn Eiffel woman who spoke said that she had a conversation with Blake Lively in this moment who said, I was not educated. I was not educated in school. And that's why I had this wedding, or that's not what she said. I was not educated, and that's why I didn't know better. Something along those lines. So she blamed it instead of saying, I just didn't know better. She blamed it on her education. Okay. So, Court of Random Opinion, Lauren here on YouTube posted a video last night where she found someone on TikTok who went to high school with Blake. Now, Blake went to high school here in LA, where I went to high school. We didn't go to the same high school, but we both went to public. I believe she went to a public high school here in LA, as did I. And I don't know about you guys, but we're about the same age. In high school in the 90s, in California, especially in Los Angeles, trust me, I don't know about you. I learned about slavery. I learned about the Civil War. I learned about American history. I definitely learned about plantations. I learned about Abraham Lincoln. Like, I learned all about this shit. So let's not, yeah, she went to Burbank High. Exactly. She went to Burbank High. I went to high school here in Los Angeles as well. Like, let's not start again. Blake Lively is the queen of not being able to take accountability and just blaming everyone around her. So, of course, it's not her fault. It's the school's fault that she went to. I was not educated. It's not that I messed up. It's they didn't teach me. They didn't do their job, right? This is the problem. So, it's such bullshit once again. Now, it doesn't stop there. This is why it's so crazy. This happened in 2019. Okay. If you were smart, if you would do everything in your power, everything in your freaking power to never again, ever step in shit when it comes to race relations, to anything that could sound or seem or be deemed as anything that could feel racist or have a microaggression or be connected to a plantation, anything, wouldn't you do anything you could possibly do to stay away from this kind of like very, very highly triggering conversation? That's what normal people would do, right? Like that's what people would do that would have good PR. I don't think Leslie Sloan does a good job. That's just us, right? That's just us. Good teams around them. I think Blake Lively is surrounded by, like I said, all yes people, and not anyone that was like, Blake, no, bad idea, girl. No, don't do it, girl. Don't do it, girl. I don't think so, right? No. So there is absolutely no one around Blake that is like reining this girl in. She's like, no. I'm untouchable. Everything I do is smart. Everything I do is good. And I don't know where Ryan Reynolds is. He's off tattooing his perineum or something, and he's too busy in his own work. But like, he's not even able to control her or like tell her that's not a good. So then she starts working on It Ends With Us. Now, if you remember on the movie It Ends With Us, right around the beginning in Justin Baldoni's complaint, one of the biggest things that comes out is the budget of the movie, right? The budget of the movie. And what do we remember finding out right at the beginning of the budget of the movie is the wardrobe. What happens with the wardrobe is that she gets a budget. Actually, she doesn't even get the budget. The wardrobe department has a budget, and she says, I don't care. I don't give a shit about you, wardrobe. I am Blake Lively. Like, I have all the control in the world. I'm taking over because I am Blake Lively. I know what I'm doing. I'm better than you. So she decides to come on in and she takes over control of the wardrobe and she triples the budget, right? But it's not just that she triples the budget. She decides to do what she wants to do with the wardrobe, and she makes choices by bringing in a brand called Magnolia Pearl. Now, I honestly had no idea whatsoever. I had heard little rumblings, but only in my deep dive because like I said, I was sticking with the legalities. I was sticking with just like what's happening in court. I was like, I'm not going into the deep dives of this. Like, I'm this is just rumor. This is hearsay. I was trying to like be above ground. No, 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 no. If you guys want to say, oh, this is just, Donna's being like a gossip rag, this ain't gossip rag. This is real deal stuff. Okay. This is real. So check this out. There is a TikTok that came out by a user. Her name is Anna Virginia, and this came out in what was the date of this? August 27th, 2024. So this is right after the movie comes out. If you remember, smear campaign time. Head of the smear campaign. Peak of smear campaign. Right? According to Blake Lively. She is just a TikTok user or TikTok creator. I don't mean by just a TikTok creator. She is a TikTok creator that decided to create a TikTok, and it's mostly about the fact that Blake Lively was on the cover of Vogue. And it talks about her wardrobe choices, and it ends with us. This is interesting, and this is just the beginning. Let's start. Make sure the volume is on. The TikTok creator's name is Anna Virginia.
It's such a crazy deep dive, but it's mind-blowing. Okay, while we're on the topic of the Vogue September issue, Blake Lively is the cover star for US Vogue September issue this year. She's a US Vogue darling at this point. She must be selling at newsstands. This was obviously a PR exercise for It Ends With Us. I'm not even going to get into how problematic the PR has been for this movie, but there is one thing I want to talk about I haven't heard anyone else mention. When I saw this paparazzi photos, I immediately recognized these particular trousers here, this like patchwork style. It was bugging me for ages until I saw this interview.
I just really loved those patchwork like jeans that you have.
Magnolia Pearl.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my real life.
This is Magnolia Pearl, okay? This brand that she was talking about. Known for its kind of poverty core aesthetic, which is really just a rehash of this Vivienne Westwood collection called Nostalgia of Mud from 1982. You cannot convince me that this image was not on Blake's mood board for Lily Bloom. Like dead flowers on the hat, the like crazy baggy, the tights. Each piece cost thousands of dollars, but that's not only what they're known for. You cannot make this up. They literally released a Plantation watch featuring these like potato sack dresses. It's pretty horrific. Considering the massive scandal her and Ryan Reynolds came in for having their wedding at a literal plantation, for which they obviously had to do serious damage control when this kind of resurfaced. Quite rightly, just ugh. Eric Damon was the costume designer for It Ends With Us, but I think Blake had disproportionate influence on the styling of her character. In this interview with Variety, he said, Magnolia Pearl is not a brand I would necessarily be aware of or in my orbit, but Blake was like, you should check out Magnolia Pearl. There's something to it. And there was. Most professional stylists would have spotted this and never have even gone near this brand, especially for such a high profile character. But Blake did her own styling for It Ends With Us, and it shows.
What? Now, if you're a little bit confused, because that was just kind of like a quick 2-minute overview of the entire thing, let me show you the actual interview that she was talking about with Jenny Slate and Blake Lively, talking about her style in the movie and this business, Magnolia Pearl. Oh, whoops, hold on. Volume would be good. Let me start from the beginning.
Oh, I just really loved those patchwork like jeans that you have.
Magnolia Pearl.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my real life jeans.
Yeah, a lot of that is like your stuff.
The boots were mine. There's these great Louboutins that are also a close up on them when we're dancing in the bar. Those are mine. I have a few of my husband's shirts and socks randomly in the movie. I have some of Gigi Hadid's sweaters in the movie.
That pink one.
Yeah,
I love
she
that.
has she has this line, guest in residence, but also like she would run out and I would be like, I want this one because all the like really cool patterns and whatnot. So she was like, I have that, you can wear mine. So some of that, and yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of my stuff.
Sorry. Okay, so basically she's talking about this with Jenny Slate in this moment. She's talking about the fact that yes, those patchwork jeans are Magnolia Pearl. So she's admitting, I connect with Magnolia Pearl. Magnolia Pearl is this brand that I love. And Magnolia Pearl, if you Google Magnolia Pearl, out of all the brands that are out there, Magnolia Pearl is known as this brand that is incredibly problematic. Here is more on Magnolia Pearl. You guys, it is insane. Of all the brands that you can pick for this movie, this is the one that you're going to pick. Hold on, let me find this one thing that for some reason is not coming off. Here we go. Give me 1 second. Okay, this is someone's TikTok that they created about Magnolia Pearl. So it's basically this 2012 line. They did an ad for Magnolia Pearl, and this is the ad. You guys are going to die. You can't make this up. It's called the Magnolia Pearl Plantation line from 2012. Who's putting this on their wish list for Christmas? Okay. Remember, this is not Magnolia Pearl's ad. This is someone else doing, this is their ad, but someone else is doing the voiceover.
Heart attack. Magnolia Pearl released a plantation line of clothing 10 years ago. And there's models literally wearing potato sacks and harvesting potatoes. I am no expert of American history, but this plantation looks a little different than the ones I've read about. It's giving more like Dust Bowl, one of these potato sack dresses. They are $1,500. Did they even Google how potatoes were harvested? Why is she putting the potatoes in her sack like she's stealing them, though? I'm really surprised that they didn't put dreads in these women. They don't have any black friends who may have told them, you should probably take this plantation video down. I'm not one to dig up people's old shit. You know, we've all had our moments where we have less than great ideas. But y'all had left me a few comments mentioning the plantation line. So all I had to do was Google, and this video popped right up from their own video channel. It's the caucasity of it all. Rich white ladies got some nerve. Imagine the privilege it takes to sell clothing that cosplays as the working poor and propagates this idea of America that if you work hard enough, one day you too can own a potato sack dress that's $2,000.
$2,000.
This is, without a doubt, the whitest thing I have ever seen.
What? And this is not hard to find. This was a Google search. Like, it's not like Blake Lively's like, never heard of, Magnolia Pearl. Oh, they're a great company. Let's use them on It Ends With Us. And this is the craziest part about this, y'all, is that everyone just said, okay. Like, I don't know what Blake Lively has on the world that she just is allowed to do all of this. How did anyone else know that this existed? I just can't believe that this existed. And there's more. It's like, it doesn't end there. There's so much. There's a whole Substack around Magnolia Pearl, a deep dive. It's called Poverty Fashion. It's a whole world out there about this. You can do, we can write a college essay about this. If you guys want to really start a college essay, it's called Magnolia Pearl, a deep dive. The use of poverty aesthetics in fashion has been a contentious subject for years. It's about poverty aesthetic. And people are really into this whole idea of like Love Shack fancy and spending a gazillion dollars on cheap looking clothes, which is fine if you're into that like shabby chic vibe. But this is out of control because once you're connecting it to plantation energy. Now it feels very, very racist, right? Like there is an energy there. It's like, are we going to connect it to, you know, like I said, like Holocaust vibes? Like you can't do that. That doesn't connect well. It doesn't, it doesn't, all of a sudden it doesn't feel chic anymore, right? So there's a lot going on here about it. Here, there's more in this little, this is from Silk and Paper. Katie, who wrote this? Katie Sachin. She talks about this, and she says that she says about Magnolia Pearl. She says that the creator of Magnolia Pearl, Robin Brown, has shared her background, saying she experienced poverty and homelessness in childhood. Her aesthetic viewpoint was heavily influenced by her mom's clothing business. Okay, that sounds fine. All sounds fine as well. But it says that even though Magnolia Brown has found its customer base, it says hold on one second. About the Magnolia Pearl 2012, about the confused looking white models in potato sack dresses who are trying to harvest potatoes with equipment that probably was not meant for the work they were pretending to do. They definitely did not know how to use them. And then there was another collection that social media critics were quick to point out is the currently available Dancing Spirit collection, featuring indigenous American imagery and motifs. I went into this collection bracing myself for something as insensitive. And then there was also, hold on, she said there was an indigenous model, and Brown, who is proud of her Cherokee heritage, shares a statement about her intention behind the collection that is worth a read. So she also has a whole, let's see, Great Spirit linen minor pants, unknown indigenous youth, indigenous American man. I'm skeptical by nature, she said, so I sent an email asking for more information and was surprised to receive a quick response from the brand's legal department. Due to the confidential nature of the communication, I will not be sharing any direct quotes or information that's not already publicly available. However, the person who wrote to me was very kind and happy. They mentioned Magnolia Pearl's Peace Warrior Foundation. Okay, so the truth is, so she says that she went back and forth with Magnolia Pearl, and she was talking about, okay, we can go into detail. I don't know necessarily. I don't want to like go. She was going back and forth how they give money to charities and this and this and that. Okay, she says this article is not intended as an endorsement or condemnation of Magnolia Pearl. I've tried to present all the facts as I found them, both positive and critical. All photos in this article are not my own and are being used in accordance with their use doctrine. Okay, so maybe Magnolia Pearl does also give to charity too. Well, maybe because they got maybe everyone gives to charity once they get found out for their incredibly insane plantation porn or core or whatever the hell they do. Now, another thing that they do, and I will say this, is we have another story about the muffins. Now, a lot of people are saying this in the comments, and I've never reported on the muffins. Okay. So I did a little Google search while we were watching that Plantation video. This is really insane. And I admit that I am just looking at this for the first time. But thank you, SEJ, who was in the comments telling me you got to look up the muffins. This is crazy. Apparently, I'll pull it up for you guys. Blake Lively muffins. What is this? In 2015. Is this real? Now I have to like question everything. Is this real? Celebrate Black History Month. Lonely Valentine's Day with Blake Lively's $168 muffins. What? This is on Complex Magazine. Blake Lively, and the image is no longer available, so I don't know where the image is, but it says Blake Lively recently became a mother. Remember, this is 2015, so perhaps she's not thinking of calendar months, but February, which has been Black History Month since 1976, is probably not the best month to talk about Black coping mechanisms being the inspiration for her blueberry muffin recipe. That would cost a measly $168 to make. The brief history lesson here is appropriate because Lively has been operating her own lifestyle website called Preserve, which strives to highlight certain American pastimes that she can help restore to their original glory. They're called Bee's Blueberry Stud Muffins. They say the blues began in the Deep South as a means to voice injustice and hardship in the African American community, from sharecropping right on up to Jim Crow. Same place most great American music comes from. It has evolved to influence all kinds of popular music and inspire many to take respite. Respite is how you say it, in good old down and out soulful singing. But it's more than music. It's a lingering mood that we kind of like. So on and so forth. It goes on and on. It says, we are pretty sure Lively didn't want to stir anything up here except her $125 batter. But such prose written about roots of sorrowful songs being a place you want to go back to doesn't look good on you, honey. But then again, maybe Lively is just thinking about wanting to go back and revisit that lovely marriage that she and Reynolds had. This picture-perfect couple was hitched back in 2012 at American Most Photographed Plantation. Preserve it. Okay. Well, don't want to get a issue there. Well, I don't know. Listen, there's a lot going on there. I just want to say there's a lot of connections with her and these missteps. Why are there so many connections with her and these missteps? And I feel like she keeps walking into it. Now, the last little TikTok I'll show you on this before we move on to Bravo Talk, because don't worry, we have a lot to do. I thought this was just an interesting, I just think this is an interesting, also a little cover of why she's so obsessed with all of this. And this is by a creator called Face Carding. And she talks also about this
From
entire
her wedding
brand.
to her outfit choices, Blake Lively has signaled to us that she has a weird sort of attachment to plantation culture. According to Justin Baldoni's website, Blake spent over $600,000 on her personal wardrobe. A huge portion of that budget went towards supporting this clothing brand called Magnolia Pearl. Magnolia Pearl is a luxury fashion brand that seems to exclusively cater to rich white women. People have pointed out how the aesthetic is very reminiscent of the Great Depression. Back in 2023, New York Times literally called out Magnolia Pearl for glorifying poverty. In this plantation-themed promo video for their plantation line of clothing back in 2012, it's just insane. The models are wearing potato sacks. They look not happy to be there. They literally were selling plantation aprons. An exaggeration at all, by the way. And the fact that this is a luxury brand, there is something very disturbing about this. I personally think that you can create these exact looks if you just visit your local Goodwill. I feel like Blake saw these photos and thought, like, oh, that's definitely Lily Bloom. Even their brand statement sends literal chills down my spine. Blessed vessel merits protection, soft armor for the divinity, shining like a sacred heart from the repetitive breasts. It feels like I'm being indoctrinated. None of this sits right with me, and the connection is undeniable. Like, the first time could have been a coincidence, but the fact that Blake went $500,000 over the budget just to spend it on brands like Magnolia Pearl signals that this is a pattern and that she absolutely has some weird attachment to plantation culture.
All right, you guys. Well, for a measly $7,000, I will let you guys wear an old t-shirt of mine. All you have to do is just, send it over in a super chat. So anytime now, I'll be here waiting. Okay, we're going to move on to our next story. We have to, I know it's been a couple days since it aired, but because I was traveling yesterday and I didn't get to talk about it, we got to talk about RHOBH. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. What a thrill. And I'm just going to talk about the last couple moments of season 3. Of the season finale reunion, third part of the reunion. Okay. And here's what I want to talk about. I need to talk about Garcelle leaving. And I kept waiting for this big moment of why Garcelle walked off. And for those of you guys that aren't watching the show, I was going to say why, but I'm like, I get it. Okay. Because Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is so not doing it for us this season. It's really just not. It's not doing it. But I get it. It's like we want it so badly to do it. It's like wanting your boyfriend to be who he was on month 1 of dating when he was love bombing you. But he's an asshole and he's not giving you what you wanted. Like what you want it to be as good as month 1, right? But it's just not doing it. It's just not doing it. So bad. But Garcelle is livid, and she's been livid since the first episode of the reunion. She's just not happy there. She doesn't want to be there. She's just sitting there. She's just stewing. She's stewing in her thoughts. And then even towards the end of the episode, Andy Cohen keeps saying like, hey, girl, what's up? She's like, I'm not happy. I don't want to be here. I'm not happy. And Andy's like, okay, is there something I can help you with? Is there something we can do about this? Is there something we can work on? And she's like, I don't feel good about this. I don't feel good. I'm just not feeling like anyone's got my back. I don't feel like anyone has my back. And I get it to an extent because everyone has their ally and her ally does not have her back. And the reason, in my opinion, that she finally did get up and walk off is Miss Sutton Strack. Sutton Strack is the reason, in my opinion. She may say it's because Dorit came after her. She may say it's because Kyle Richards. She may say it's because Erica or this and that. I think Garcelle ultimately decided to leave Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because of one person and one person only, and that was Miss Sutton Strack, that she was sitting right next to her. I think Sutton Strack just didn't have her back. And at the end of the day, when they were going around and talking to all of the different women on the couch and they said, like, what surprised you or what was the best moments? Everyone had something to say. And Garcelle said it was really nice to see Sutton and her mom in that, one moment. And Sutton said, it was really nice to have a relationship. I really look forward to having a relationship with Erica. Didn't even look over at Garcelle once. And Garcelle in that moment said like, I'm out of here. I'm done. I don't want it. I think Garcelle had decided early on in the first part of that reunion, like before the lunch break, she was like, I'm done with it. And she just sat there and stewed through it. I think she was like, contractually, I have to sit here through all 3 episodes, but I'm already done. Like she decided that she was going to break up with the show in the first episode, right? Interesting. Beth says, yes, on Juicy Scoop, Heather McDonald went to Sutton's house during the Masters. Sutton said she had not spoken with Garcelle at all. No question. I knew it from the second but Sutton also made a very big choice. Sutton decided she made her choice to choose Garcelle. Sutton chose Kyle and the rest of the popular girls over Garcelle. And I say this with quotes because she chose all of those girls over Garcelle in that moment. And by that moment, I mean by that reunion episode. Because Sutton decided in that moment that Garcelle wasn't going to do anything for her anymore. Garcelle already had one foot out the door. And that's why I think Sutton is a piece of shit. And I'm going to be honest about that. Sutton is not a good friend. Garcelle was a good friend to Sutton, and Sutton was not a good friend to Garcelle. Sutton will always choose whatever is going to take her a little further. And call me out on that, but I think Sutton is a social climber and Garcelle was actually a true friend. And I'm not saying I love Garcelle, but Garcelle was there for the right reasons. Garcelle was an actual true friend. And I think Sutton is a bad friend. Sutton wasn't there for the right reasons. And she just was like inching closer to Kyle by the moment. And Garcelle was there for the right reason. Garcelle was there for the right reason. And I thought that, like, in terms of being there for Sutton. And Garcelle truly did not make friends with Dorit the entire show, only for one reason, and that's because of Sutton, in my opinion. Obviously, this is my opinion. All of you guys can have your own opinions too. But in my opinion, the only reason that Garcelle and Dorit were clashing the entire show, of course, they both had shit, and Dorit did shitty things to Garcelle, and Garcelle did shitty things to Dorit. No question. But everyone does shitty things on these shows. But the true reason that they were not able to be close was because Sutton and Dorit hate each other, and Garcelle always had Sutton's back. And because of that, Dorit and Garcelle were never going to be friends. And Garcelle will always take Sutton's back, and Sutton would never do that for Garcelle. And that, I think, ultimately, this is my little rant. In my opinion, I think Garcelle will always, always feel like she never truly had an ally on that show. And that is my real honest take on that, and the reason why she said, fuck this, I'm out. And she walked off and she was like, when she walked off, she was like, fuck these people, they're all assholes. But I don't think she meant they're all assholes. And maybe she did mean they're all assholes, but yes, they all are. But I think she meant Sutton. That's how I feel about that. Now, Kyle. We do need to talk about Kyle and Mauricio. Okay, I have a lot of thoughts about this, and I did talk to my friend who's gay. not Zach. Did you guys know Zach is gay? I did talk to my friend who's gay. I really wanted their take on Kyle Richards because I was really struggling with her tiptoeing over this sexuality conversation. Okay. I was frustrated watching because every single part of this conversation that she's having about everything she was talking about her daughters and like having the conversation with your daughters about your sexuality and then not being able to say, yes, I came out to them. So what I noticed was that she said I had a conversation with my 4 daughters where I said to them, I don't know who I am attracted to, or I'm considering all of these things. And Portia, she says, my 16-year-old daughter came to me and gave me a hug. And she said, I don't care whoever you decide to be with, I will love you no matter what. Andy Cohen then says, as your, that's so amazing. That's what my dad said to me when I came out. And he said, and then immediately when Andy said that, Kyle said, I didn't come out. Like she got very, very sensitive and very defensive immediately whenever that happened. I didn't come out like that. And every time the conversation went to like, are you I know I'm not a lesbian, but then she would have these conversations about having the sexuality conversations with the kids. So I was frustrated. I'm like, why doesn't she just go there? Because I know that if I were single and I had a conversation, if I were single and I had to have a conversation with my kids, unless I was actually interested in women and wanting to sleep with women and date women, I wouldn't have that conversation with my kids. Like I wouldn't just like fuck around and just like have that conversation with my kids just for shits and giggles. I would only have that conversation with my kids if I actually wanted to sleep with women. So obviously you're having that conversation because you're interested in women, but she didn't want to actually say that she was a lesbian. Now, the person that I spoke to that is actually gay really opened my eyes to this because I was kind of judgy in my mind about it. And this person came to me and said, listen, I think that when you are in a relationship and your identity is straight for your entire life, like Kyle's 56 years old, right? So 55 years of years of your life, you are straight. You are a wife. You are never, ever known as anyone but a woman who is dating men, married to men, sleeping with men. And then all of a sudden something happens to you where you don't consider like being out there looking for women, but you fall in love with a woman. It's so hard just for yourself to admit, like it's hard enough to come out when you 100% know that you're gay as like a teen, this person told me. But when your whole identity is straight and then you start to question yourself at 50 something years old, it is terrifying to admit that out loud. Coupled with the fact that my insider information is that it's not even Kyle that can't come out publicly, but it's Morgan that can't come out publicly. And I know that that's going to be very confusing because Morgan seems like the most publicly, gay and out person, but she's actually doesn't want to be like a public out gay public personality relationship person. It's going to be very, very hard and scary for her to come out as like a public lesbian. Then on top of this, and I'll always remember this. Do you guys know who Taylor Strecker is? Taylor Strecker is she has a podcast, Taste of Taylor. She is besties with the girls from The Toast, Claudia, especially from The Toast. She has a podcast on Dear Media. She used to have a podcast on Cosmo Radio when it used to be on Sirius. She used to have or no, she's like good friends with Paige DeSorbo. She's friends with a lot of those like that world of podcasters. Okay. So I love her. And when she was younger, she was married, she was straight, and she was married to a guy. And then she ended up leaving the guy and she fell in love with another girl named Taylor. And when she first started dating this girl named Taylor, she was very confused because she was like, I am not a lesbian. Like, I don't like girls, but I like this Taylor. And now all of a sudden, I am into a girl. Like, this is very confusing. And she would say on the radio, I don't think I'm a lesbian, but I fell in love with a girl. But now, years later, she's like, oh, I'm definitely a lesbian. Like, now she's married to Taylor. She's like, there's no way I'm ever going to ever date a man again if I ever had to. Like, I'm 100% a lesbian. So like, it's a process. So I will give Kyle that. Anyway, I just hope that they do some sort of refresh. What do you guys think about the idea of Debbie Matenopoulos joining instead of Garcelle next season? I think it's an interesting idea, but I think it's a little bit tired. I know a lot of people like Debbie Matenopoulos, but for me, I like the idea of like a Tracy Tudor joining next season. I don't know. We need like a bigger shakeup for next season of Beverly Hills. I'm not very, very excited about it. It's not that exciting to me. I feel like we can do better in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills. All right, let's move on to the next show. We got The Valley. Who watched The Valley a couple of nights ago? I freaking love this show. I've been looking so forward to The Valley. It was phenomenal. As annoying as Jax Taylor is, triggered by Jax. Come in if you are triggered by Jax. I am incredibly triggered by Jax. He is incredibly difficult for me to watch. Can't stand him, but it will be very enjoyable for us all to watch him together. And every time I watch him, I just want to, I want to go to him with a wax strip, hot wax. And I want to go straight to his mustache and I want to just, I want to rip his freaking mustache off that goes up into his nostrils. He's so annoying. Jax Taylor with his freaking, do you guys notice though? They're shooting at the bar at Jax's. They're filming at Jax's in one of the scenes. Jax Taylor is there. Tom Schwartz is there. Do you notice how empty that damn bar is? You know why he blocked me, right? Jax Taylor blocked me on Instagram. Why? The one thing that made him block me is because I told you guys the truth. I went there to Jax's, which is just a hop and a skip away from my house, on a Saturday night at 9 p.m. on a summer's eve. That shit was dead. Dead like the night. Dead like Blake Lively's career. It was dead. No one was in that place. I'm telling you, Jax Taylor, his bar is where I guess you go to die. And then also beer cheese. Beer cheese is off the menu, apparently. It's crossed off on the menu. That's the only reason to go to Jax's bar is for date night and mama's beer cheese, and you can't even get it. Apparently, it's Sharpied out, like Robin Brown's eyebrows. Sharpied. They don't have it. They don't even have it. So if you go to Jax's, dead. But either way, Jax Taylor is horrendous. And I'm telling you, Brittany's hard for me sometimes too, but I really feel for her. I honestly, I will give Brittany all of my love, because to deal with Jax Taylor, I would be drowning myself in beer cheese every night. Okay, every night. The amount of beer cheese I would be eating. I just would be so I don't know. I mean, how could you deal with being married to someone like him? He's just the worst of the world. Emily has a question right off the bat. Is Jasmine needed for the show? This was an interesting little, I have a question about that too. So Jasmine and her wife, and now I can't remember her wife's name, but that's exactly the point. Jasmine and her wife, they seem like extra additional cast. Why are they there? Is it because they needed to fill the, we need a lesbian, we need a diversity? Like, why are they there? They don't even live in the valley, I don't think, you guys. I don't think they live in the valley, Jasmine and her wife. Is it fiance or wife? I can't remember. Because they did show them for one little 2-second scene, and they were walking in the city. I recognize the streets. They were walking on 3rd Street, which is not even in the valley. So what's going on there? I do think they're a little bit like superfluous. Nia and Danny. I'm going to struggle. I have to be honest. I'm really invested in Jax and Brittany stories. Chris and Dodie. I'm invested in Chris and Dodie stories. The Nia and Danny story. Like, wake me up when it's over. Okay? Wake me up. Melissa is the girlfriend. Wake me up. I like Danny a lot. Nice guy. Really nice guy. I've cast him before when I used to work with Disney. Danny Bucco, actor. Nice guy. Ugh. They're so boring. Truly, the most boring characters on the TV show. I'm not alone there, right? Nia is so gorgeous. She's beautiful, stunning, like perfection, right? Her personality is very boring. And the voice is it's a struggle. And I say that as my voice too. It's uneasily. And Michelle has an annoying voice too. And Janet's voice is, wait, guys, Janet is monotone. Janet talks like this. Everything in Janet's voice is very monotone. Kristen, I don't understand why you're mad at me. Last summer was a really big struggle, but now I don't know why you have a struggle. Nia is so kind, but she does have a nasally voice. And Michelle talks like a robot. Wait, why are they all they all have a little bit of weird like intonations and inflections in their voices. Interesting, yeah? Judy's getting her highlights at the salon and watching her. I would like to get highlights. See if they have availability for me, Judy Booty. So, okay, so Nia and Danny, they're just talking about having more kids. I'm talking about having less. I think, listen, their kids are freaking adorable. I've seen them, and I know they end up having a 4th kid because, social media and all. But guys, inflation's tough, and I worry because we can't even afford eggs, right? And so, I'm a little concerned. I've seen their condo. I know where it's tough. How? They need to move to Santa Clarita. They need to move into Garcelle's house. Why aren't they moving out there? I know she's really concerned about being out and far, but they can't continue to live in that condo. I'm having anxiety. I'm having so much anxiety just for them. I get stressed out in their house when they're shooting in their house. There's a lot of screaming. It feels like Alec Baldwin's house again, right? It feels like the Baldwins. Ilaria. Feels like another Ilaria situation. But Danny's 303. Right? Then we have Michelle and Jesse. And I've never seen a more unhappy ex than Michelle Lally. They hate each other so much. They may hate each other more apart than they do together. And there's something about Michelle's boyfriend, man. Michelle's new boyfriend, there's a dark energy situation. I don't know what it is. And I know Jesse wasn't the greatest, but there's something about Michelle's boyfriend that he has a dark energy. I can't put my finger on it, but I feel it. Anyone else feel it? There's something going on there. Can't tell. There's something going on there. Then, but it was kind of a boring. Janet and her husband are the most vanilla couple I've ever met in my entire life. And I guess you have to have the boring couple, but I feel like they're all the boring couple, except Brittany and Kristen. Right? I know Michelle is going to be cheating. We know that Michelle did cheat on with Jesse with Quentin Tarantino. Was that the director? We'll find out more about that soon. But ultimately, it comes down to the fact that Jax Taylor is a freaking rageaholic drug addict who Tom Schwartz ends up being the man of reason. That's weird. I can't see Tom Schwartz. It's I feel tired. I feel bored with Tom Schwartz being trying to be the voice of reason. No thanks, man. No thanks. And Jax with the blower. Oh my God. If Jax Taylor was my neighbor with that damn leaf blower, I would be calling the cops. I would become the biggest Karen of my neighborhood. I would be starting a WhatsApp on the neighborhood app. We got to get the leaf blower guy out of the neighborhood. Can you imagine? What if I was doing my podcast and I lived next door to Jax Taylor? Can you guys imagine? How annoying would it be? What would I be doing right now if Jax Taylor was he has a psycho obsession, an OCD obsession with those damn leaves all day, morning till night. The damn leaf blower. There's one celebrity, I can't remember who has a psycho obsession with leaf blowers and wants to like kill them. Leaf blowers. Oh my God, I can't remember. I just saw Kate Blanchett. Oh my God, we got to get Kate Blanchett. This is going to, oh my God, you guys have to see this. we got to get Kate Blanchett and Jax Taylor together. You guys ready for this?
I don't understand leaf blowers and I don't understand golf. But leaf blowers, if I see a leaf blower, I will. Leaf blowers, I go from 0 to 1,000. I'm moving
What do you
leaves
not
from
like
one
about-
place to another. You blow leaves from one side of the pavement to the other side of the pavement, only for them to be blown back again, and then you go, I'm going to blow them again. I need to have the wind go and blow them back in the first place. I cannot. It's all that is wrong with the human race. I could be here for 3 hours talking to you about leaf blowers. They drive me nuts. I hate them so much. Gardeners, I mean, their faces, they know that what they're doing is stupid. I'm like a barking dog, like a little squirrel. If I see leaf blower, it's just, that's it. I'm gone.
We got to get Kate Blanchett over to Jax Taylor. She needs to have an intervention with him. Like, he has a problem. Someone like remove. He's like, maybe it's not the cocaine, maybe it's not the alcohol, it's the leaf blower. We'll see more about Jax Taylor and the stupid leaf blowers later. Okay, let's move on. And then finally, we'll talk about Summer House. Summer House. Oh, before we get into Summer House, just another sponsor. We have to talk about therapy and how important RULA is. This next story is brought to you by RULA. If you know me at all, you know I love to talk. And you also know that I am a big fan of using mental health services because times are tough these days. 2025 is not for the weak. Between the fires in Los Angeles, all of the global issues, politics, social media, debates, everything going on right now, we need to be utilizing mental health services. And RULA is a company that makes it easy for us to be able to access it from home. Telehealth has made mental health care more convenient and accessible for millions of people. But it's so hard to find a suitable therapist and scheduling appointments, and it's so expensive. Expensive out-of-pocket costs still keep so many from getting the care that they need. But RULA is on a mission to make high-quality mental health care from a licensed professional easy and affordable for everyone. RULA has you covered. They take most major insurance plan, and the average copay is only $15 per session. You can now get the quality healthcare you need when you need it at a price that you can afford. It's not just affordable, they stick with you throughout your entire journey, making sure you get the best therapy and that you're making progress. With RULA, every provider is carefully vetted and chosen for their expertise, which is so cool, you guys, because it's so important to find the right mental health care provider when you're going through a tough time, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's, health anxiety. I know so many of my friends deal with chronic pain, and there's just so much happening right now. This is the time to utilize these services. Go to RULA.com/daily dose to get started today. That's RULA.com/daily dose for convenient therapy that's covered by insurance. Thousands have already trusted RULA to support them on their journey towards improved mental health and overall well-being. Head on over to RULA.com/daily dose to get started today. After you sign up, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them Daily Dose of Donna sent you. Go to RULA.com/daily dose and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares. Okay, speaking of better quality mental health, did you guys spend your night in the Hamptons? I did. Can we talk about Kyle Cook? enough is enough. Someone needs to stop Kyle Cook. It's not okay. 5:30 in the morning. What the fucking fuck? You guys, tell me, how many of you would allow your 40-some-year-old husband to come home at 5:30 in the morning on a random Friday night or Saturday night? Like, what is happening? Tell me, am I being insane that I think it's actually cuckoo pants? I am not understanding this relationship between Amanda and Kyle. Obviously, she accepts it. Obviously, she's okay with it. I don't get it. Like, I am all good. Let's go out. Let's have fun. Let's go out. Let's have drinks. Let's go out. Let's dance. 5:30 in the morning is not acceptable. Like, it's just not acceptable. At some point, we gotta say, like, you have a problem. 5:30 in the morning is when I was up at 5:30 in the morning this morning. Yeah, like I went to bed at 10, but still, it's not like nothing good happens after even 2, 1. I just think it's really, really odd. Now, especially given the fact, and here's the judgy part of me, especially given the fact that Kyle just doesn't have the reputation of a decent stand up human being when he drinks. He just doesn't. Kyle Cook doesn't have a good reputation of being a faithful husband. He doesn't. And this is an interesting thing. So, Face Reality 16 on Instagram, she's a friend of mine. And if you guys don't know who she is, follow her on Instagram. I love her. She uncovered some really damaging things about Kyle last summer. And it was when he was in, it was right before the summer, right before they started shooting. And it was when he was in Charleston, and he was hanging out at Leva's bar. And not Republic, not the main one that they shoot Southern Hospitality, but it was the small one. I can't remember what it was called. She has 2 big bars. Like, one of them is a real party place, and then there's another kind of like more mellow lounge. And he was there, and there's video or like a picture, I can't remember, and it's kind of dark, but you can clearly see that he's in cahoots in a small little corner, and he's hanging out with some chick, and it looks like there's a little kissy. This is not the first time that there has been evidence of something weird happening. Now, mind you, it's not like convincing for sure, but I'm just telling you, as someone that is married, and like I said, everyone has their own relationships. We just don't know that they have an open relationship. They've never admitted that. It just seems a little strange, right? I don't think I would feel confident or happy if Lance had pictures like that floating around on the internet. That's not only the only thing. Dumois, for example, gets all these blinds written to her, all of these emails saying, yes, keep me anonymous. But last night I was out at the bar where Kyle Cook was DJing, because that's what he does now, DJ Kyle Cook, where he was DJing, and he got the number of my best friend, and he was FaceTiming her all night from his hotel room, and he wanted to hang out with her, or he was drunk and he was making out with my friend, or he was this, or he was that. I just don't think that rumors like that happen to every single person that has a girlfriend on Bravo. Like, rumors like that only happen to those that there's a reason for those rumors. You know what I mean? We're not hearing about rumors of every single husband and boyfriend on Bravo cheating. For example, like, I'm trying to think, what other show is there that there's here's a good example. Let's talk about Craig and Paige, because Craig and Paige were a solid, I thought, for 3-year relationship on Bravo, right? They were a solid 3-year relationship. We didn't see any cracks in their relationship until the breakup. We thought that there were cracks because clearly she wasn't moving, he wasn't moving, they weren't moving towards marriage, and we were getting the vibes, but in public, everything seemed fine. Not once, ever do I remember seeing any rumors, hearing any blinds, finding any gossip columns or anything saying Paige is cheating or Craig is cheating. Do you guys? I don't remember one time ever hearing any gossip or any like Dumois blinds or anything about either of them cheating. Not once until the breakup. All of a sudden, they break up, and there's rumors that Paige is cheating, and then Paige starts saying that Craig is cheating or cheated, right? The reason why there weren't rumors during the relationship that they were cheating is because I don't believe either of them cheated. I don't think he ever cheated. I don't think she ever cheated. I still, if anything, maybe towards the end, there was like an emotional affair between she and this guy, Joe, that she's still dating allegedly. But I don't think either of them were actually physically in any way cheating throughout their entire 3-year relationship. The point is, it doesn't usually happen. Those rumors don't start with people that don't usually engage in that kind of behavior. I think Craig was always really, really professional when he was out and about doing all of his appearances. So many of the dosers in my audience, in my Facebook group, so many of you guys met him out and about at appearances, and never once did any of you guys come back and say, oh my God, Craig was out of control. He was inappropriate. He was trying to hook up with blah, 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 blah. No one ever said that, not once. But Kyle, all the time. So if that's your husband, why the hell is he out until 5:30 in the morning? I find it insane. Then he comes home at 5:30 in the morning with West, who's like player upon player. They're so drunk they can't even function. They can't get into the house. They walk in, they go straight to the kitchen. Well, West passes out. Kyle goes to the kitchen. He's freaking throwing food into his face, like disgusting, shoving food into his face, and then just passes out sitting up in the kitchen with his zipper open. Vom, this is your husband, 40-some-year-old husband. I could die. Anyway, that was just a personal rant. It's Lindsay's birthday. Lindsay could not be more likable this season. I'm obsessed with Lindsay. Don't at me. Everything she does, I love. They ask her in a confessional, like, what, you're 38. Are you on your life plan? She's like, she has the funniest little laugh. I think she's adorable. Amanda doesn't do much in this episode. She's just kind of chilling, as Amanda does. But Paige and Sierra have like a whole big thing. Paige has a full-on anxiety attack during this episode. This is where you really start to see how her anxiety is manifesting. She says, I don't know what's going on. I have the apartment that I manifested. I have the career that I manifested. I have the boyfriend that I manifested, the relationship that I manifested. Everything is going well for me, and my anxiety is at an all-time high. What's wrong with me? She can't sleep. She ends up like going into another room and staying up all night. Like she's a mess. And she ends up panicking because she had a really honest conversation with Sierra on camera the night before. And it was basically about Craig. And she starts getting really emotional, saying if she breaks up with Craig is going to hate her. And the world is going to hate her. And she's worried about the world's kind of reaction. She's almost worried that all she is Craig's girlfriend. And she's really concerned about it. It's really, really interesting to kind of see this side of her. I did feel bad for her. I'm not going to lie. I did feel bad for her seeing how anxious she was, because there's never it's like horrible to be that anxious. I've been there before in life. I don't know if it's Craig's fault. I think she's blaming it too much now in hindsight on Craig. I don't think it's Craig's fault. I think it's a lot of internal anxiety, maybe because of the pressure that Craig is putting on her without Craig knowing that he's putting pressure on her. But like she's feeling that pressure. But I don't think Craig is doing anything intentionally. I think Craig is just being a boyfriend. I still stand by that. I think Craig is just being a loving boyfriend trying to move forward in his life, and she's panicking because she doesn't want to move forward with him, and that's that. And then Jesse and Lexi is just such a confusing relationship because he is sending her the most mixed messages I've ever seen in my entire life, because he's like, I love you, and then he ends up cheating and like flirting with other girls. Very confusing. And I feel so bad for Lexi because she's like, he loves me. But then why is he flirting with other girls? But the Paige and Craig thing is so odd. She is in page 6 this week by basically saying she's doubling down in the Vulture magazine. She's doubling down on claims that Craig was texting other women during their relationship. She says, I don't even know if it was platonic or anything more, but there were multiple times in our relationship where I gave him so much grace. She said in an interview published yesterday. She says, like, I should have broken up with him a year and a half ago when I saw him texting hearts to a girl. Yeah, but again, I loved him and I wanted to marry him, she says to the outlet. What? This thing I'm so confused about with Paige and Craig, because you're telling me that if you saw him cheating on you or texting hearts to two other girls, you would have not mentioned that at all in all of these scenes that we're seeing on TV, in all of these big fights that you're having or all of these stressful moments that you're having. You wouldn't have said, yeah, well, you know what, Craig? Like, I just saw you texting two girls. In these moments where she's talking to Sierra and feeling so guilty and so bad, she wouldn't have said, but he's cheating on me, or maybe he's cheating on me. Or how about that time that he sent those 2 text messages to those girls? That is such bullshit. I don't believe it for a second. In fact, I strongly remember a scene where she was sitting on a beach 2 years ago or last summer, I can't remember, where she said if a girl's hand was on Kyle's leg, Craig, if a girl's hand was on Craig's leg, I would fly my ass so fast over to Charleston. Paige would never, ever let 2 girls that he was texting just like go under the radar. Such a liar. Why is she lying? That part I don't understand. She also shaded him so badly in her new book, saying things men do instead of going to therapy. And one of them was start a pillow company. Why? What's the need to shade him? I don't get that part. It feels like a lot of doing too much after the fact. Leave him alone. Move on. He seems to be. He's dating this new girl and going on vacation. He's living his best life, it sounds like. Like, move on. Leave him alone. Now, where she can move on is to go on Love Island, because Ariana wants Paige to go on Love Island. According to here on Queens of Bravo on X, they have a clip here where Ariana says, I would love to have Paige DeSorbo on Love Island. I think
I would love
so
to
much
have
fun.
Paige DeSorbo on Love Island. I think she would be so much fun. She's hot and so smart and witty, and I think she would just bring something really fun to the villa. I would love.
I don't know if that means like as a host or what, but Paige would probably jump all over that. Is Ariana trying to get Paige like to be the next Ariana? I mean, Ariana cannot do that too. It can't happen because Paige was not burned the way Ariana was. There's a reason that Ariana got that like lift off, but the audience will not stand for that because Paige was not burned like Ariana. But speaking of Love Island, this is a great way to go because Love Island is getting a spinoff. This is very exciting. According to Deadline, Love Island USA is getting a spinoff called Love Island Beyond the Villa. Now, you guys know I never watched Love Island. Let me get rid of this ad. I never watched Love Island before last season, and I became obsessed. And it's called Love Island Love Island Beyond the Villa with season 6 Islanders to premiere summer 2025. So this summer on Peacock. It's returning with some fan favorite Islanders. Of course, we have Janae, Serena, Leah. Those are those 3 girls in this picture here who are the fan favorites for sure. But also Aaron, Miguel, Kaylor, Connor, Kenny, Olivia, and Kendall. Aaron. Do you guys remember how amazing Kaylor was? Oh, this is such a great cast. They'll also participate in the series. Peacock says that the other former Islanders will also make appearances throughout the season because it was such a big smash hit, it says. We don't really know what's going to happen, but it says Cordell will not. Wait, why? And Rob will also not be. Why will Cordell not be on it? That's interesting, right? Huh. I wonder why Cordell, because Cordell is with Serena. So I wonder if Cordell just has like a really big something else happening. But that's kind of an exciting, fun thing to look forward to. A fun little obsession. I wonder if it's going to take away the audience of, Love Island season 7. But it will be kind of fun. Anyway, you guys, I am looking forward to tomorrow. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Friday's episode, and it'll be fun. I'll see you guys then. Thank you so much for being here for an extra long special episode, a Friday long or a Thursday long extra episode. Thank you for subscribing and liking the episode. As always, make sure you do that on your way out, and I will see you mañana. Bye-bye.